Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for another anime review. For this anime review, I'll be covering the Donghua, or the Chinese anime known as the Daily Life of the Immortal King, Season 4. And what I'll do is, I ended up watching this series on Crunchyroll, but I want to point out something. With Crunchyroll, they really need to update the synopsis for each of the episodes in relation to this series, considering how far it's actually gotten on their servers. So I'll be able to give you the title of sort of like each of the episodes for the series, or for this particular season, as there are 12 episodes, but I'm going to have to talk a little bit about each of the episode. And not long after that's done, I'll be moving from episode to episode until it's time to cover the afterthoughts. So, moving into episode 1 for season 4, it was called Way of Heaven Level Swordsmanship. Now, in this particular episode, even though it doesn't give a synopsis, this is what I'm going to tell you about the particular episode. We end up coming across a character that is sort of like a sword saint that is a little bit old in age, and he's looking for an heir to basically teach his mastery to. And there's a bit of a story that sort of like does play like throughout the rest of the episodes, to which we get to learn a little bit more about the character, especially towards the end, where it sort of like settles the story the most. Next is, in the next episode, it's called Snack Noodle in Collector's Edition. Now, with this, it has to do with a particular snack that connects to something that Wang Ling actually enjoys, and it's basically the raccoon chips, of what it's called, or the raccoon noodles. And with this, we sort of get to learn a little bit about Wang Ling's connection in relation to the snack noodles and that. We do actually end up catching up with the Sunrong family once again, along with her grandpa, plus many of the other things, and she does end up receiving the collector's edition from Wang Ling. And this is later then sort of like taken to, I guess, a vault in one of the later episodes, to which this will be used later on as sort of like a, I guess, a Chekhov's gun, I think it's called. So, next is episode 3, which is called Resonance Between Masters. And I must point out that within these first 3 episodes, that once the Sword Saint Old Master ends up coming to the school, which is in, I think it's faction 60 in the story, that he's looking for his heir-to-be, and we do end up having a period of time to which, when he does sort of like get the call out to students, Wang Ling does what he can to sort of like get crossed off the list like quite early, and that's done for a purpose. So the Sword Saint Master, who knows the Sword of Heaven, doesn't realize who he is and how important he is like to the story. Now, with this, we have one of the teachers that is sort of like wanting the kids to sort of like do what they can, and then whilst the students are sort of like attending the school, they develop a way to, I guess, give the teacher a lot of praise, but doing it in a way to sort of like troll her to get something that they want. And it's just like, oh, the craziness. But yeah, you could see these characters do it in the time of how long that they've known Wang Ling, and also wanting to sort of like get training from this particular sword master. Now, as we move into episode 4, it's titled The Underground Spiritual Vein, to which we have sort of like the appearance of like a bit of a villain of sorts. And this villain, when they come in, they interrupt the spiritual vein, which is connected to the earth. And this is where we have Wang Ling working in the background, of course, trying to make sure that he's not sort of like caught doing anything. And he sort of like has to find someone that he can trust, to sort of like one of those characters being Sun Rong, to help him out in sort of like quashing what the enemy wants to do in the area of Faction 60. And whilst that is done, we do eventually move into the next episode. Now, I must admit, this is probably one of my favorite episodes in this particular season, and it's called Wang Ling's Art of Great Luck. Now, in this particular episode, we have Wang Ling going with his friends, going to a complete store, and whilst they're at this particular store, they try to devise a way to sort of like get the most of cultivation, like a spiritual essence from them, and in a way sort of like take advantage of the students. And whilst Wang Ling is participating, you see him winning at everything that they're putting in front of him, and it's like, what is this kid's problem that we're losing this? And out of it, they end up getting a quite a lot because of Wang Ling's help. As we jump into episode 6, it's called It's All Your Fault, which in episode 6, it focuses on, I think, a bit of a vault or something. It's episode 6, I must correct myself. This gives us a bit of a backstory as to how Wang Ling was able to sort of like learn the ways of heaven, considering how young he was, and also basically how he got his first lot of like raccoon chips. And with it, we end up getting an understanding of sort of like how some of these things are operating around him, and all just because being born with these overpowered abilities, but he still wants to live a normal life like any other Joe Blow in this series, just not having so much attention given to him. Then we move into episode 7, which is The Art of Explosion, to which in this there are a turn of events to which, yes, we do get to see an explosion do actually happen within this particular story, to which this explosion does cause a bit of damage, but it takes Wang Ling to sort of like, of course, play his part in intervening, and also bringing in good friends to sort of like help circulate to get the focus off him. So as we drop into episode 8, it's called The Defending the Faction 60, to which we have the return of, I think it's Ling, or one of the teachers, who plays a role in sort of like protecting the area of Faction 60. And whilst this is occurring, we have Sun Rong, who is in a vault at the time, to which she's also going to be confronting like one of the villains who is going to the vault and wanting to steal something. To which brings us into episode 9, which is titled Wrong is in Danger. To which this actually focuses on Sun Rong, and we learn that with Sun Rong in this particular situation, that she has been given something that was actually shown earlier in the story, and that was a collector's edition of these raccoon chips, to which she's given instruction by Wang Ling to eat these chips when she needs to sort of like confront this villain. She does end up confronting this particular villain. So after that, that villain is defeated, but it's still the same villain that carries over to the last couple of episodes. So they're still trying, and whilst this is occurring, we still have the old Sword Saint wondering, is it wrong or is Is it Sun Rong, or is it someone else that's causing this spiritual, that's stopping the enemy at everything that he does? As we start to move into episode 10, 11, and 12, episode 10 is titled Start Immortal King Mode, to which this focuses on Wong Ling starting to prepare things up for like the end game of this particular episode, or these episodes in story. And of course, Wong Ling does know that there's this villain about, and he starts to sort of like create a world, but this world is made specifically for Froggy 2 and all of the other sort of like demons that have come from other worlds to have their own. We do end up getting to see the demons and that sort of like end up going into the world and sort of like feeling all happy and joyful. But in the process, we also have another event that's about to take place. And with this particular event, he's given like certain people certain tickets to go to this particular world, which he has personally created with the powers that he has in this story. And it's being made out that it's actually like a theater event, and it's like really clever as to how he gets away with these things. And one of the people that is actually invited is the Sword Saint that's sort of like from earlier in the story, to which we end up moving into episode 11, which is called Birth of the Evil Sword Lord, to which we have the evil like sword user. And as this fight begins to take place, we get to see like a number of things happen and occur. Jumping into episode 12, we have the war between true immortals. Now, these true immortals are sort of like considered like the key characters that are at this event. And one of them is, of course, we do actually learn that these particular mortals that trained under one particular teacher, learning that one teacher chose one student over another, because one sort of like saw things and had a slightly big ego and thought, oh, I'm number one, I'm first, I should be the heir. And of course, the Sword Saint that we sort of like see at the beginning of the series, we sort of learn why he's actually quite humble in his appearance, and that he actually wants to choose someone that would be basically be his friend and not so much rival. So he's one who chooses peace over choosing being first. So, and in a particular event, you do actually get to see someone connected to their past, to which, okay, this is why you lost, this is why you were unable to be the heir to the certain art that I taught your brother. To which, not long after this, the character does get defeated, and Wong Ling ends up getting a new student a little bit at the end of this. So jumping into the area of the afterthoughts of this series, or of this particular season, oh my goodness, this was crazy from beginning to end. And I must admit, I'm really starting to come and enjoy lots of Chinese animated series, or well, this one in particular, and I'm also wondering what's planned for Season 5, and I really hope I'm around to sort of like review Season 5, whether I am or not, I don't know, but because there was something that took place in the story, which leads one to think that Wong Ling might actually have a brother or sister coming along, because his mother is pregnant. Like, they only barely handled the first child, knowing how OP he was. Now, how things will be with the second child, I don't know what they've got planned. I mean it. I really don't know what they've got planned there, and how the story will come across. Alright, jumping into the next one, let's go directly into the area of the rating. Main characters of this series being Wang Ling, Sun Rong, Guo Hao, Jin Chao. I must admit, I give these characters an 8.5 out of 10, as I really enjoyed their characters within this particular story, and I'm looking forward to seeing what more happens. In regards to this area of the supporting characters, mainly being some of the teachers, plus some of the newer characters that we're introduced to, I give an 8 out of 10. Though I do look forward to what more is about to occur and to happen in the story. After that is the area of the animation, to which I give it an 8 out of 10. I actually quite like the animation with this and how it sort of like worked with the story. Next is the area of the soundtrack. I must admit, I am finding some of these soundtracks quite enjoyable to listen to, even throughout each of the episode and also throughout the story. Also, the opening and ending themes, they are amazing. So for that, I'll give it just an 8 out of 10. So for the next thing, it is the overall story for this season, to which I give an 8 out of 10. I am definitely looking forward to see what they do for the next upcoming season. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.
玄妙，阳性修正自逍遥，九流三角层出不穷，偏叨扰。浮转朱砂，熟人诀窍，随手一炮，灵光萦绕。握紧剑鞘，正邪善恶。